How did you get that opportunity into Melbourne Storm?
Um, Pretty much through VU, so through the uni.
Yeah.
They were setting up, like through the careers advisors there. Pretty much just like job ads that for were coming through to us all the time, and was able to be successful enough to snag an internship with them, mainly with their under-20 squad, which was real big eye opener to just see how the difference between rugby and football, and even then with how Melbourne Storm run their organisation, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, what were your major sort of takeaways in seeing that environment?
I think because sort of fairly heavily involved within football, it was really good to see just the emphasis on the strength and power training compared to AFL, whereas AFL was probably more your conditioning and getting them up to a high level of being able to cover the ground.
You mentioned that the sessions and those timeframes. How did you fit that around lifeguard and uni and all the rest of it for the developing S&Cs listening in?
Yeah, a simple question. I don't know. Just do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just make it work.
yeah. You just make it work. You know, coffee soon becomes your friend, and midday naps soon become your friend as well. So, you just prioritise what it is you need to prioritise. So naturally, it was one of those things where Melbourne Storm was going to be my priority, whether it means that my grades at uni aren't necessarily quite as good as what they could be because I'm not studying as much, or if I can't make quite money as what it is doing the work on the side, or if my own training, if I can't sort of do as many gym sessions or get to the training that I need to as much as what it is, then so be it. It's just one of those things where early days when you're sitting down at uni and you sort of see all the other students around you, and you've got 300 other odd students sitting in the same auditorium, and that's just at VU. Then you've got your deacons and ACUs and all the other unis out there. You sort of very quickly think, well, I've got to get this experience. I need to do well in these areas because this is essentially what's going to get you the job. So, just prioritising it.
And we'll move into the your mentors or influences that have helped your career. Doesn't have to be directly S&Cs, but who have been some people that sort of pop up top of mind that have helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think I've been really fortunate with some of the mentors I've had along the way. I've had some really good mentors and influences sort of show me the ropes through the career. So early days, when I was at Cannons early days, we had Steve Cone there, and he's an absolute little pocket rocket. He just doesn't stop, and sort of some of the work ethic and just how he was able to build the relationships with the younger athletes. I was able to take a lot out of that. With Robinus, he was at Coburg, again, phenomenal worker with it all. Huge knowledge base and experience base, and I was able to take a lot out of him. And then also Loris Berlocchi with the where he was a bit of work on the side. So he was again another wealth of experience. He's been in the industry, I think, since 95, 96. I think he first started in AFL, and before that he was definitely around a lot. Yeah.
Take us through your role that you're now doing, a full-time role with the Tassie Devils. How does it work with what's it entail?
We've got 3 regions which we sort of look after. So we've got one based in Hobart in the south, one in the north in Lonnie, and then one in the northwest around the Ulston Penguin area. So essentially we have athletes training in each of those regions, both boys and girls. So we've got staff across each of them, and basically I oversee sort of what happens from a S&C medical standpoint across it all. So typically on a Monday we'll get training out to all of them for the week. And then that might be whatever drills it is, work out whatever sort of distances, top up with whatever conditioning. The nature of those regional-based trainings are that some of those regions might only have 8 athletes there. If 1 or 2 of them are in rehab or injured or modified for whatever reason. Running
a program yourself, what's a key focus when you took on this role with the developing footballers that you're working with? For those developing footballers tuning into this podcast, what are your sort of key pillars, I guess?
So I think a lot of work was put into the running, the and speed ability. So looking at, can they actually sustain a conditioning bout? Can they go for an 8-minute worst case scenario effort? Can they actually look at their ability. Can they actually produce the speed? And then let's look at their capacity within it all. Same with the strength, their movement, and their power abilities. So can they actually perform the movement? And then let's have a look. Can we actually build upon this? And then also looking at the developmental stages within training as well. So can they actually handle 2-3 nights a week, where we some weeks we might end up with 25 k's on the track, 30 k's on the track. So can they actually handle this? If not, then why is that the case?
What's your approach with footballers that are gung-ho and pushing themselves potentially past their limits?
Yeah, I think you sort of got to meet them at their level. Get to know them about if they're at school, well, when's their exam periods? If they're involved in multiple sports, well, what are those sports? When are they likely to be running? Is there any way that we can sort of do a bit of give and take? Like if it's cricket that they're playing over summer, well, what is it that we might be able to do around that? If they're involved in multiple football programs, like I know a lot of the NAB League boys are back in Melbourne, where they might have training 4 nights a week for football. Well, how does that then look? What can we then do about it? Is there a connection with each of the schools or each of the clubs that we can sort of leverage on to basically try and get the right for the athletes?